Hi everyone, welcome to the Mighty Trades channel. My name is Johar. Welcome to another episode of the Global Market Outlook. Last week was a very volatile week for everyone in the market. There were multiple gap ups, there were multiple gap downs, lots of stop losses were getting hit on either side. So, very difficult week to navigate for traders for sure. But let's try and see what could happen next week for the markets in India and overall what we are seeing could play out for the next 2-3 weeks at least. So starting off with the US crude oil, just to keep inflation in check, we can see that US crude oil still trading above $100 a barrel. So this is still not in the best place for us. It's still trading at a very high level. Let's see, there are some talks happening that India might finally crack a deal with Russia on getting its crude oil at a cheaper price. So we might see some good news maybe flowing in from there later on. If you look at silver also had a slight recovery last week. Not a very bullish recovery. It wasn't able to cover the entire fall the previous week. So silver is not looking really bullish right now. Gold has also come down. Gold has, in fact, is still not able to close above this level. In fact, it's taking very good resistance here. And last week also, it just closed exactly at this level right now. So gold may be due for correction from here, or it can just take support and continue trading at this level for all we know. Looking at some other Asian markets, then if you look at the Turkish market, that's also been consolidating in a downward channel. So the Turkey market looks okay. Taiwan market has corrected steeply. It's given a closing below this level for the last 2 weeks. Last week also it was not able to take out this level. So I think the Taiwanese market is going to fall down till here. If you look at the Japanese market, then this is also in a downward trend. I think it's going to come and retest this level once again. If you look at the Hong Kong market, then this is trading again at rock bottom levels. The Hong Kong market has not gone anywhere since 2007. It's been trading in this one singular range since a pretty long time now. So nothing really happening here as well. Now looking at the European markets, then if you look at Germany, just to remind you guys again, we are looking at the weekly chart right now. So the German market largely consolidated last week. We can see a nice doji candle form over here. So we can maybe see a pullback to these levels at around 14,600, 14,500 levels. We can potentially see a pullback till there. The UK market also doji candle. As we can see, for the last 2 weeks, it's been consolidating in the same range, and we might see a pullback here as well. And if you look at the French market, then here also it's a smaller doji candle, but again consolidated for most of the week last week. Now coming to the main problem area, which is the US market. Now the US market looks considerably weaker than anything else, right? So if you look at the S&P 500, it's broken now this level also of 3,925, and it's given a closing below that. So I think the US market can correct to these levels in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Wouldn't be surprised seeing this again. And if it does get here, then there could be very close to its pre-COVID levels. Again, the pre-COVID high was 3380. So the US market, I think, might come back with pre-COVID levels in the next couple of weeks or months. If you look at Dow Jones is also looking very weak. It momentarily broke below this level, but the weekly chart climbed back up. So I think we might see a pullback in Dow Jones till 32,400 levels, and then I think it might continue its downward journey again, because Dow Jones has been on a correction phase since 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks. So there's been 8 weeks of sell-off. So I think there has to be a pullback now to these levels to give a relief rally for some other traders to exit their positions. But I think the long-term trajectory is that in the next 2-3 months we can see Dow Jones come down to 30,000 levels, which is the previous COVID high, basically the high of February 2020. So the high before the crash of COVID, I think it will come till there again. And if you look at Nasdaq is absolutely weak. It broke the level of 12,245 also. Now the next level comes in at 10,800. This I believe should act as a very strong support. But if this is also broken, then it will also come back to its pre-COVID high of 9,600. So the US markets are not looking good. And if the US markets don't look good, then that is not good for India and the rest of the world in general. So let's see what happens. I think for the medium term, for the next 3 to 6 months, I still think we are going to continue to go down. But in the middle, there will be pullbacks which you should start capitalizing on, and you should try and make money from those pullbacks. Now, if we look at the US dollar index, sorry, let's look at the US VIX. Then the US VIX is also trading at high levels right now. It's trading between 20. It's trading between a range of 25 and 30. So it is still a very, very volatile market. If you look at the monthly chart, then you can see that it's trading at these high levels. So these levels are not really good. Most of the times the market VIX should be trading below 20 for a nice calm environment. But if the VIX goes above 20, then it's usually not a great sign for any market, especially the US market. Now, if you look at the US dollar, then the US dollar finally looks like it's taking some resistance here at this level. So definitely a breakout has happened in dollar, right? And the major breakout level was over here. Let me put this. Yep. So this was the major breakout level, right? Over here, you can see back in 2017, this acted as a resistance. Then again, back in 2020, this acted as a resistance. And then 2 weeks ago, in the last week of April, there was a nice breakout here, which gave a closing above this. And then for the next 2 weeks, the US dollar rallied. And now finally a correction has happened, and we can see a pullback here. So dollar is currently retesting its breakout level. So if this retest is broken, and if we see dollar correcting back down to, let's say, this level of 100, then the markets will definitely have a pullback for the next 1 or 2 weeks. If this retest fails, if this retest succeeds and the dollar moves up again onto its upward trajectory, then definitely markets will continue to fall across the globe, especially emerging markets. Now let's take a quick look at our Indian markets. So first, let's look at USD INR. And as we can clearly see, USD INR has been on a complete bull run. INR is extremely weak right now, and we can see that for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, for the last 7 continuous weeks, the Indian rupee has been depreciating. My long-term target for USD INR is 82 to 83 rupees. And I think by the end of this year, or maybe in the next 1 year, we can see these levels reach for the Indian market. So in the medium term, the Indian market looks like there will be continuous FIIs will still continue selling, and there will be still money being pulled out of India, which is really not good for our equity markets and for our economy in general, because everything that we import in US dollars will become more expensive for us. Now let's look at our sectoral indices, starting with Nifty first. Let's look at our major Nifty, what's happening here. So as we had discussed last week, there is a downward channel that Nifty is trading in, and we can see that last week it came to the very bottom of this channel, very close to the bottom of this channel, and we saw a reversal happening here. Now there is an important resistance here at 16,400, which we were not able to cross last week. And if we look at the daily chart, then we can clearly see that there was continuous gap ups, then again a gap up here, then a gap down here, then again a gap up here. So the market was going haywire completely all throughout the week, right? And as you can clearly see that this 16400 resistance, if this is taken out this week in the market pullback, then we can see the market rally up to say 16800 levels. So I am hoping that we will see a breakout here and a possible resistance to be taken here, and then the market might come down again for a while, maybe touch this level again or retest this 16400 level again and touch the high of this channel. So if that's what I think might play out, but definitely I feel that this level could be taken out next week and we can see at least Nifty reach 16,800. After that, what might happen, I'm not sure, but this is what I am hoping or I'm assuming can happen next week. So just my personal opinion, please do not take any trades on the basis of this. Looking at the broader market is looking weaker than Nifty, because if we see, Nifty has clearly given a close above its last week's opening high, and this week's closing has definitely been above last week's opening high, so this is definitely a good sign. While if we look at the broader market closed below the previous week's opening. So definitely broader market is looking weaker than Nifty itself. If you look at the Indiavix is also on an upward trajectory again. If the market does pull back to still 16800, then we can see Indiavix correct a little, but this also looks like it's going to go to 30 levels again very soon. If you look at the mid cap index is also looking weak. The small cap index is also looking weak. None of the mid cap and small cap indexes were able to give a strong close like how Nifty has done. If you look at Bank Nifty again looking very strong, similar to how Nifty is. So Bank Nifty looks strong. The PSE index is also looking strong from a sector point of view. Just a minute, I think there's something wrong with my mouse. There you go. Okay, so the PSE index also didn't give the most strongest closing. It didn't close above this level, but definitely it is not trading at its lowest level also like the other indices. If you look at the IT index, absolutely weak. It's definitely going to come till 27,700. So let's hope this support stays, because if this is broken, then the next fall will directly come in at 24,000 levels. If you look at the consumption index, this is looking really strong. It's given a nice strong bullish closing over here. So there is something definitely to look forward to in consumption stocks. FMCG looking really strong, really bullish. There is a very good chance that this level might be taken out next week and we can see a good up move in FMCG companies. So definitely keeping those on your watch list. Energy did not give the strongest closing. There was a very sharp down move in the last week, but maybe it can pull back till these levels of 28,000. So do keep it on a watch list. I think this is a retest of this previous breakout. So if this retest is successful, then we can definitely see it pull back to 28,000 levels. Finance stocks, again very similar to Bank Nifty, so good up move can be expected in finance stocks. If you look at infra has not given a very strong bullish closing, so nothing really to look at infra. If we look at private bank, very similar to Bank Nifty, so banking stocks are looking strong. I think something's going to happen in banking stocks. If you look at Nifty Auto is looking very good. In fact, this is looking like a rising star or morning star pattern, I think is what it's called. So there's a red candle, there is a doji at the bottom, and then the next candle is a green. So I think we can see auto stocks move up till I can see the auto index move up till 11,600 or 11,800 levels. So something good can come out in auto stocks. PSU banks again doesn't look very strong right now. Looking a little bit on the weaker side. We can maybe see it pull back to 2,600 levels here. Pharma index doing okay, nothing really great in pharma. Metal has corrected very sharply over the last 2 weeks, but again, metal stocks are also not looking really the strongest right now. If you look at the realty index is looking weak. There are some pockets in real estate which are looking good, like Prestige Group, etc. But overall, the index is not looking that promising right now. It needs to give a closing above 415 to see a pullback till 480 levels. And obviously, if we see a close above 480, then real estate will become strong again. Media has given a good closing, very similar to Nifty. It's given a closing above its previous week's opening, so definitely a good sign. Can see some pullback in media stocks as well. And finally, if you look at Bitcoin is looking extremely weak as per the head and shoulder pattern that we had identified previously. Bitcoin's long-term trajectory looks like it can go down till 18 or 20,000 levels. So Bitcoin is definitely on the weaker side right now. So in summary, we can see a pullback in the Indian markets till 16,800 levels as per my opinion. So there can be good 2-3 days where possibly there can be money made in swing trading. But as mighty trades, we have to continue just holding on to a position till our stop losses are hit or till our targets are hit, and we shouldn't be too bothered about where the market goes sideways. We will continue focusing on the stock. This is just for educational purposes that I do this, and hopefully people just understand how you can sort of take out some time on your weekend, try and understand what's happening across the globe, and adjust your positions accordingly, or try and build a view of a particular sector that, okay, if XYZ is happening across the world, then maybe the companies from this sector will benefit, etc. So the whole point of this analysis is that. So hope you enjoyed watching the video. Hope you get some clarity of what could happen in the next week, and hopefully what we discussed here does go right our way. And if it does, then we can be even more confident that we are getting better at analyzing the market by ourselves. So thank you for watching the video, and goodbye.